Yeah, so that was just an aside. I wanted to get on the topic of marriage because I know that you are looking for a wife, but you do have qualifications, certain things that you want in a wife. And you've gotten a lot of pushback for speaking that out loud. Yet, a lot of things you say that you desire is what I hear men from all races say they desire. And that's the thing. It's like women have changed, but men have not changed in terms of what they need. And if we're going to get back to building communities and building families and restoring hope in the family, building generational wealth, then we're going to have to figure out how we can get along so that we can even mate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to be with an American woman. I will go to a different country and get a wife from another country. I sure will.
Hmm.
But what I prefer is a woman from my nation that looks like me
Hmm.
right here. That's what I prefer.
Okay.
And she has to be agreeable.
Hmm.
She's going, I want her from here, but she has to be what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Brother Andre said, no, he meant this topic. This
Oh
Lord, I
yeah.
pray. See, all men that I know say they want the same thing. Got the hat, t-shirt, and custom ring. Men say they want virgins. Women get angry, angry, angry if a man said they want a virgin or woman with a low body count. But here's the thing: women grant access to sex. Men actually are the ones that grant access to relationship. They're the ones who propose for marriage. But it's the woman outside of grape that you know is the that grants access to a man's access to her yoni space. So it's important for you as a woman to know that men don't like to they don't want to marry a woman who's had a lot of men in their yoni spaces, because when you had number one, men are possessive. This is what I hear from men. Number two, usually if you have a lot of sex partners, then you have a lot you had a lot of relationships. Some women have a lot of trauma. You got to deal with all those disappointments that you've had. You got all these different energies in your body, and most men don't want to deal with that. It's really a simple answer, right? Simple
It
reason.
is. And
Yeah.
why would a woman argue? Okay, if I said, I even at one point, I said something about, I just said, I want to marry a virgin. That's what I said. And
Mhm.
I put it on Facebook, but sometimes I forget that everybody wants to weigh in on whatever you put
Yeah.
but it's the internet, right? But whatever, it's my page. But the rules, they allow everybody to come and comment and say whatever they want. Okay, but I said that I want a virgin, right?
Hmm.
And then oh man, that got like the biggest post that I've ever made was that said I said I want a virgin, and they were like, well, how dare you want a virgin? Like, how are you talking about? Like what are they saying? Like how dare you not want to prostitute a woman who's had a whole bunch of she should at least have 10 sex partners before she gets with you. Oh my god. Like what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you encouraging your daughter to have a bunch of sex partners? Is that what you're telling me, that you don't want your daughter to be a virgin before she gets married? Is that how many sex partners do you want your daughter to have before she gets married?
Mm.
Do you want your daughter to get married?
Mm.
Just because they chose to have a bunch of sex partners, the longer you live, the more sex you'll probably have, right? But okay. But that was your choice. You didn't get married, or you got married, you got divorced, but you probably just didn't get married, and you just probably had a whole bunch of sex partners. And, that's what they chose to do. That is okay. But if I want somebody who has not had a bunch of sex partners, what does that have to do with anybody else? I'm
Mm.
talking about somebody I'm marrying. I'm not saying every woman I have sex with from now on, I want them to be a virgin. That's I don't want to make a whole bunch of virgins not virgins. That's not what I'm about. That's not even what people go around doing.
Mm.
No. Women grant access to sex. Yes, they choose. They say, I want. And then who are they choosing? They're choosing a small percentage of the men to have sex with. So these women are having a whole bunch of sex with a few people, and then they're going to tell me that I have to pick from one of them. who's had over 20 sex partners. No, I don't. I can choose whoever the hell I want to choose. And I don't even want to cuss. I can choose whoever I want to choose. And I want a woman who has had few to no sex partners as a marriage partner. If I'm just talking about having sex with somebody, even that, I don't want to, I really don't want to have sex with the ex prostitute. I don't. I don't. But I mean, if that's what's happening, or if she's had so many sex partners that, gosh, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I need to have sex, but if I'm talking about marrying, right? Am I getting off topic?
No,
I just want to have, I just want, I want a virgin. And why would somebody tell me that I can't have a woman who hasn't had several sex partners? What type of shit is that? Like, for real, where are they even coming from with this?
Michelle says, "Speak, nephew."
Yeah.
Michelle's been married for many years. I think maybe almost 30 or 30 some years. She has two sons, two beautiful sons, handsome sons. And I know one of them is married. I don't know about the other. And what I love about reading her posts is she's always talking about loving her husband and marriage and sharing the things that they've done. And not necessarily like in a braggadocious way, like, look at me. But I just love that she's even sharing her experience, because I think that we have glorified single parenthood so much that married women feel like they don't have a voice. So to hear married women speak about loving their husband, serving their husband, cooking for their husband, buying their husband, a gift on his birthday, I think it's so heartwarming and refreshing. I appreciate that. And every time I see her say something about, being married, it's her anniversary, it's something that they've done as a family, I tell her, thank you so much. It gives people hope, and it's refreshing when you're not hearing about, oh, I'm a struggling single mother. And I get it, because I've struggled before. And when your dad and I were separated, I was a single mother. There's no glory in that. There is no glory in struggling as a single mother. I don't get it. It wasn't easy for you. It wasn't easy for dad. It wasn't easy for any of our children. It wasn't easy for me. It didn't become better until he and I actually decided we too grown to be acting silly. We need to sit down, have a conversation, and correct our mistakes for the sake of our family. And still the damage had been done. You know what I'm saying? But still, y'all had to suffer and deal with the separation. I'm not going to say, but, because we have to give an account for the decisions that we make. Hopefully it wasn't too late, us trying to get things together, that we didn't do too much damage. You know what I'm saying? But there's no glory in being separated from your husband. None. I don't see the glory. Struggling, trying to figure out how you're going to pay bills. Now you're open as a woman, and you're likely to have other sex partners. And let me tell you, women get upset when men say this, but I feel it in my soul. I got to be careful how I say this. The way a man looks at a woman is, your value is not any better than the man that you chose to marry and or procreate with. So why is it that once we procreate with children, we think, oh, I'll just leave him and go get somebody else and get somebody else better? No, a man's going to look at you and say, that was your baby's father? Okay, then that's who you need to be with. Oh, but okay, it can't work out. All right, why do you expect me to give more to you and your child than you required of your own child's father? Am I right?
Yes. Now, I've dealt with women who have children, as far as I've dated women with children, but I don't want to marry women with children, because I don't want to be that child's father, because I'm not that child's father. And no man thinks that they're the child's father. Nobody thinks that they're the father of a child that's not his. And so, I mean, yeah, it is that you chose the man that you chose. You should probably stay with that man. That's more than likely that's the best it's going to get, because you can't just jump from marriage to marriage and think that the marriages are going to get progressively better, because men still fundamentally want what we want. We still want to start fresh for the most part in marriage. Now,
Okay.
yeah, you can. If I were to have more than one wife,
Mhm.
I would certainly consider having my first wife a virgin and having the children, and having another wife in some time who is older than that and does have children. That is a possibility. I
Mhm.
probably won't have a woman with children, but that is a possibility. That is a strong possibility.
Mhm.
But innately, do I want to be with a woman with children? No, because I'm not the child's father. I'm
Mhm.
just not. And when I was with the woman with children, I really I liked the kid, the child. I treated the child well. I didn't mistreat the child,
Mhm.
but at no point did I think that, oh, look at him, he kind of looks like me. Nah, he's not my child.
Mm.
So just uh, people should be realistic. Try to get married and stay married to that person. That's what we should be striving to do. And
Yeah.
then marriages build families, and an intact family is an intact marriage. An
Mm.
intact marriage is an intact family.
Okay.
So, if you get divorced, it's going to be harder to marry somebody else. When you marry somebody else, the high likelihood of divorcing that person, the statistics say. And then even so, now you still have to deal with, okay, but now I have children and I'm
Mhm.
going to another man, whether I was married or not. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's a situation. But would I marry a woman with children? Yes, there's a possibility. Would I marry a woman who is older than the first age range that I'm looking to marry? The very first woman, that age range, would I marry somebody at a higher age range at a different time? Very possibly, yes.
Mhm.
More than likely, yes. Yes. But the point being, your question as to, are women only going to be are women is women's better is it the best option for a woman to stay with the man that she had babies with or was married with, or is that the highest man that she's going to get?
Yes, that's what I was trying
More
to
than likely,
say.
yes.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am, I did hear it, but more than likely, yes. More than likely. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep repeating that.
Yeah, because most men really don't want to take care of another man's child. And I know women don't like to hear that. But if you ask a man, if you take a poll of men, take a poll of 10, 20, 100 men, the majority of them would say, no, it's not our nature to want to take care of another man's seed. Whether that's right or wrong, to me, is irrelevant. It is what it is. And I think if women are looking for a husband or looking to be married, they need to find out what it is that men like. And so you get a lot of women that made mistakes in their youth who are now, above a certain age saying that there are no good men. Yes, there are good men. They just don't want women who have made some of the decisions that we've made. I mean, that's not a bad thing. A lot of women want the smart man like you, a man with good morals, principles, and integrity, a strong man, a warrior that makes decent money, that comes from a good family, but they need to do the things that it takes to earn that type of man. That type of man like you want a woman who's been a good steward of her womb. I mean, it's like common sense. We knew this growing up. I was a virgin when I married your dad. I mean, because we just knew that that's what you were supposed to be. And I'm not saying that you have to be. I'm saying that was the culture. And the women were actually trained and taught to take care of a man, and not only take care of a man, but take care of your man. So when I was young, the women in the community saw that your dad and I had eyes for each other. So they started real early. We were teenagers. They were like, no sex until marriage, number one. Number two, Douglas, you got to buy a house. You remember the house we lived in? I had a 3-bedroom house. I was like 19. Your dad bought me. She got to have a house. Kia, no sex before that. I already knew how to cook. They made sure I knew how to cook. My grandmother made sure I knew how to cook. And they said, this is what Douglas likes. From the time I was a young woman, this is what he likes. This is the food he likes. This is how you please him. This is what he needs. And it's something I don't see happening today. And people would tell you when I tell stories like that, oh, that don't mean the man will not cheat. That don't mean you won't have problems. No, it doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that you have the best options for being able to choose the right man or be chosen by a man that will provide for you and protect you and give you good, strong, healthy children. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And for women, I'm not a woman, but I can tell you what a man prefers. It seems pretty. I mean, maybe it's difficult, maybe because I'm not a woman. I don't know, but really, in the things that it's in the things that you do, but a lot of it's the things that you choose not to do.
Mm,
So just
okay.
don't accept the sexual advances of these men. As you're growing up, the women get sexual advances from the time they hit their period, or sometimes earlier. But by the time they hit their period, or and then from then on, they're getting advances from men,
Mhm.
or males in general. I'm not just not men of a certain. I'm talking about males. You start getting sexual interest and asked to have sex. But if you could hold off
Mm.
until you find somebody that you're trying to get married with, you'd have a higher likelihood of one getting married, and then getting married to the particular caliber of men that you're looking for, and also staying married. And then so it's the things that you don't do. It's not accepting the sexual advances, not
Mm.
actually having sex,
Mm.
n- not doing drugs, right? Or not that that's a real big problem, but it's starting to become a problem.
Yeah.
Um, Not being obscene.
Mm.
There's and really really it comes down to just don't have a bunch of sexual partners, and you'll probably find the person you're looking for.
Mhm. Yeah, and another thing is know what men want and desire. Men are not impressed with our education. I can say that as an educated woman. I know men are not impressed that you have a master's degree or a doctorate. They might say that's nice and they might think, oh, that's good for you. But a lot of us women spend so much time in career and education that we miss the prime years where men are really looking for you. Yeah, and those prime childbearing years is when typically men want. And I'm speaking in general terms right here. But if you are so focused on career and working and getting that bag and earning money and getting this college education, then you're not focused on doing what it takes to get married in your earlier years. So then I see a lot of women, a lot of us will be 35, 40, 50, talking about where are all the good men? I can't find them. And that's because he doesn't want or not even desire or impressed by a woman that's got a whole bunch of college degrees that's making six figures. I mean, if he finds you marriageable, that's nice. But I'm saying as a whole, by the time you're 35, 40, you might give him one child. Most men want more than one child. So particularly in like I can come from our community, what I recall, and I went to college, so what I saw was a lot of Asian women, Hispanic women, Caucasian women, they get married in their early 20s. And
Hmm.
you're a tailor, so you saw that when you were making clothes and doing bridal dresses. You saw that women in other cultures, they use their time and energy to learn how to be a wife and to find a husband early. We trying to get education and jobs.
Some of them before they're 18, or at least, or right after 18, or early, very, very 20. Like those other the Europeans, there's like different. I don't know if you call them ethnicities of European. There's like different nationalities of Europeans,
Yeah.
and they're all on the same thought path, and the Mexicans and anybody who's not Black American, right?
Man.
They're all getting married. They're all getting married young, and they seem very happy. You should. Well, okay. So like you said, I'm a tailor, right? And
Mhm.
so I want